we went south through the Panama Canal. From out there, we went up the west coast of California, and we stopped at a couple of ports on the way up, and then we finally got all the way up to Seattle, Washington. And all this stuff is going on when we get up to Seattle that was funny. You know, midnight stuff. You know, nobody, you know, what's going on, you know? I mean, I went into town and had a few beers and had a lot of fun and stuff, and come back, and these guys are walking around with trench coats on with snap brim hats, and, you know, who the hell are these guys, right?
And when we left Seattle, that's the first time that the Nautilus ever got underway at midnight.
We got underway out of there, and this one guy that came aboard was a Professor Dr. Lyons, and he came down and in the lower level where I used to stay most of my watches, and I had a spigot there off one of the things. I used to draw samples of water off the headers.
But we pulled out of Seattle at midnight, and as soon as we got out of the distance of the pier or shore that people could see us, seaman came up on the deck and was painting out all the letters, painting them black so they couldn't be detected. So they give it a little bit of a time to dry, and even the name Nautilus was blacked out with paint, you know? So we knew then, that's the first that we knew that we were gonna go someplace. We didn't know right at the moment where, but we knew something was coming up.
I think when we found out where we were going, there wasn't any unusual elation, because we always went someplace, and just going under the Arctic Ocean seemed like a challenge, but it didn't seem like it was going to be a very big thing, I don't think. We just had to figure out how to do it, and we knew we were going to England, and that would be fun. I think pretty soon, as I remember, after we left Seattle and headed north, I think most of the crew knew that we were going to go.
We went out and we went down, and the skipper read the orders, and we went on up to the Bering Straits and Chukchi Sea and went to the ice and went down and tried to go through, and that's when we had the problems.
They had all this equipment on the boat too, like up in the control room they had this one thing which was a needle going like this and another needle going like this, and they kept getting I was up there one day and they kept getting closer and closer and closer. All of a sudden they started hitting, and I hear ice going on the superstructure. So that was hairy.
We backed, slowly backed. Seemed like hours, but actually it wasn't that long. But anyway, we got to where point that we could figure we could turn around, and we turned around and went down to Pearl Harbor.
They'd had some problems getting in there, and because the ice pack kept, depending on the wind, if the wind was from the north, the ice would come through the Bering Straits and block the passage into, it was shallow water on both sides of the Bering Straits.
Well, that was another sneaky thing. We snuck in at midnight into Hawaii. They covered the boat all up. And
during the time that we were in Pearl Harbor, the skipper took a trip up to the North Pole along with scientists, and they figured out a route that we could take.
When we come to Hawaii, I called my father. And in fact, my father took the phone bill and stuck it in the album, in our album, $15 to call home from Hawaii. And I said, Dad, send me some money, I'm broke.
We weren't sure where the ice pack was, but we knew it had to be fairly far north in order to get the water. So the way they decided to do that was to send me up there and as a reconnaissance, and I went up and reported into the admiral up there, and he knew who I was, but nobody else did, and they assigned an airplane to me, and I said I wanted to go out and look at the Bering Straits to see where the ice was, and I was up in the bubble of this airplane for days. I'd go out in the morning and come back in the evening and watch the ice go, and people didn't have any idea why I wanted to sit up in the front of this airplane looking at the ice.
Okay, Dad, we're in Hawaii, so you're supposed to be in the Panama Canal. I said, I know, but we're in Hawaii.
I have to tell you about John. He and I were very, very close shipmates. He was a ship's photographer. Just about all the pictures you see on Nautilus was taken by John Crosby. John and I kind of worked together, had been working together on some of the top secret missions. I made a instrument to put on the periscope so he could use his Hasselblad camera to take pictures of Russian submarines.
They asked me if I wanted to go back home for a couple of weeks or a week or so. They're taking all the married guys back. I wasn't married, but they said they wanted me to. They asked me if I wanted. I said, no, I don't want to go. Where would I go to? I'm in paradise now. I'm in Hawaii. Why would I want to go anywhere else?
John and I decided we would do a little extra for the ship.
So every morning I'd climb in the airplane and tell them I'd go, and we'd go out over the Bering Straits, and I'd check and see where the ice was.